Bhagavad Gita program. So the topic of today's discussion is yoga, the means and the end. Generally, the current understanding of yoga in today's world is it's something which you do to maintain your physical health or to keep your body in good shape, especially in West. It's quite popular nowadays, and also to get some sort of mental peace. But actually we'll understand the definition of yoga, what our ancient scripture says, what our rishis and sages, they meant to give us the actual yoga. So yoga, if we see the etymological meaning of yoga, it means yoga, means to join two things. And we understand what are those two things. There are two things like we, Jiva, and God, Bhagavan. So first of all, to understand like how do we connect, how do we connect with God, we have to understand who is Bhagavan and who are we. So nowadays people, they have varieties of understanding of God. They think there is no supreme deity, God is some impersonal light, some impersonal form, God has no form, or there are different personalities like Brahma, Shiva, Ganesh, Durga. All of these are God. Or is it like someone is the head of everyone? So all of these we may discuss by our own endeavor, but as far as Sanatana Dharma is concerned, we should discuss all of this on the basis of Shastra, because only Shastra can give us complete knowledge, because a human being, it's limited by its intellect. We have in our brain we cannot comprehend anything what's beyond this material world. So Shastras give us knowledge, how actually this knowledge about what we cannot conceive, what we cannot perceive. For example, we cannot even perceive what's the length and breadth of this universe, what's beyond this universe. Till now we are not able to do that. So Shastras, they give us complete knowledge about the absolute truth, Param Satyam. So if you understand from the Shastra, there is Brahma Samhita, it says Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Amanadiradir Govinda Sarv Karanam Karanam, which translates into like there are many controllers, but the supreme controller is Krishna. And Krishna, his body is not like our body, just like our body is made of blood, bones and muscles, all of these things. But Krishna's body is Satchit or Ananda, which means it's composed of eternity, bliss and knowledge. Krishna's body is like this, and he is the cause of all causes. So similarly, we understand this. It's not like these Abrahamic religions, they completely negate all different personalities. They say there is just one God, but we do not negate that. Shastra says there are different controllers, but there is one head, and who is the head? Krishna. This is in Brahma Samhita, which consists of the prayers spoken by Brahma when the Brahma, he was born from the lotus stem of Lord Narayana. So Brahma, he recited those prayers at the time of his birth. It's significant, even though he got birth from Narayana, he is praying to Krishna. So we understand even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam parvattate iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhav samanvita. Krishna says, from me everything comes, and I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything comes from me. The wise who perfectly know this engages in my devotional service. So Krishna is saying, I am the source of everything. Everything is coming from me. So we understand Param Satya means it's the source of everything. So Krishna is he is confirming in Bhagavad Gita. And also in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7, in which this opulence of absolute truth is described, Krishna says, Mata parataram na anyat kinchid asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre manikana eva. Krishna says, O Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So we understand this world is maintained, there is an order in this world. So, but we are not able to see the control. Just like there is order in a country, a government is controlling the different functions in a country, the tax system, the transport system, the economy. Everything is controlled by government, but we cannot see the government, how it's working. So similarly, Krishna is the background of everything. Krishna is holding everything, but we are not able to see. example is given Sutre Manigana Eva. We understand in a necklace there are beads and there is a string. In the necklace, the beads are on the strings there are beads, but we cannot perceive the string. Similarly, in this world, everything is holded by Krishna, but we cannot perceive Krishna. So Krishna is the background of everything. And similarly, in just to confirm this, in different Upanishads, Puranas, everywhere it's mentioned. Like there are different controllers, but this Krishna is the supreme controller. It says, natasya karanam karanam cha vidyate, natat sama cha abhidikas cha dishyate, parasya shaktir vivedaya shruyate, sabhavaki gyan bala chakriya. It says, natasya karanam karanam cha vidyate. God has nothing to do, which means like he has no duty. Like a human being, he has many duties. Duty towards first his family, his society, his nation, and human society in general, to the world. It has many duty, but the God, he has no duty. We can understand by this example, just like a big person, a big personality. He will not do all of his household affairs, office work by himself. He will delegate to his some managers, some of his associates. He will not do the work. So similarly, Krishna, he is not doing the work himself. He has what? His Shakti. Parasya Shakti vividaya shruyate. There are Shaktis, his energies, which are doing the work on his behalf. So he doesn't have to do personally. Just like we understand this Mother Durga is there controlling this world. So Krishna is not directly involved, but he has appointed Mother Durga is in charge of this material world. So similarly, everything is controlled by Krishna, but not directly through his energies. And not tat sama, it says, it's very clear, it's very significant, like this Akhiladhara Upanishad says, na tat sama, there is no one equal to, sama means equal, na tat sama, there is no one equal to, to you, to Krishna. So we have to understand, like there is not like there are different personalities, all of them are God, or God doesn't have form, it's just some light, the God is something impersonal. No, Krishna is God, and he's there are many controllers, and he is the supreme controller, and supreme means there is no one above him. So similarly, this all the Shastras, they confirm this point. If we understood, okay, Krishna is God, but other thing we have to understand, then who are we? Just like philosophers, they deal with this question, who are we, where we come from, what is the self? So if we ask someone, who are you, they will say, I am Mayank, I am studying in this college, I work in Bangalore, I am from Karnataka, I am from this place or that place. But if we understand, these are the designation of a body which took birth. For example, if I say, I'll say, this is my shirt, my pant, my hand, my face. But these are all the possession which is possessed by that person who is saying I. So who is that person I? So actually this body is just like a dress, and the person is possessing this dress. It says in Gita, asamshi jirnani yatha vivahe navani grihnati naro parani tatha shririnani vihaye jirirani anyani samyati navani dehi. As the person puts on new garments, giving up the old useless ones, similarly the soul accepts new material bodies, giving the old and useless ones. So this body is like a garment only. For example, to understand it more clearly, we can understand by this example. Like sometimes it happens like when someone meets some accident, some part of body is cut. So doctor, what it uses a needle and a thread, and he literally stitches the body just like as we stitch the garment. So similarly, this body is like a garment, but quite advanced garment. But we are different from this body. Another point is we understood like this body is just like a dress. It's covering the soul. We are using the body, and we are different from this body. We can understand by this example. Like when we were young, we had some child body. We had child body, and we become little old. We had youth body. Now we are maybe in adult body. So similarly, body is growing. They say body is growing, but actually body is changing. All the cell chemical composition, everything is changing. At every moment there is change in body. But why do we still feel the same? Because due to the presence of the soul, body has changed, but we feel the same person. We think about childhood. I like to do this. I had this many likings and dislikings. So the body is changing, but still we feel the same person, because it is the soul which is same, but body is changing. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita gives same example कि है ना, देहिनो अस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारम यौवनम जरा तथा देहांतर प्राप्तिर धीरज तत्र न मोह्यति. Like body is changing from boyhood to youthhood to adulthood, and similarly at the time of death, the body, this body, when it is not useful, it goes to tatha dehantar praptir dhiraj tatra na mohyati. After dehantar, after quitting this body, after quitting this body, soul moves on to the next body. And when who understand this, they do not get bewildered. Many people, in general, people, they avoid discussing about death, because first of all, they don't see the point in it. Like, what's the use even if we discuss? Now, how does it impact our life? But Krishna says, those who understand this, they do not get bewildered by this fact. We understand in daily usage, we say, as sure as death. Everyone is sure that they are going to die, but no one likes to speak about it, because it defeats our desires, our plans, our ambitions, and it gives not very happy feeling. It doesn't induces happiness. So we avoid speaking about it. But Bhagavad Gita, it's speaking about this, because this is a fact which is facing us, which everyone has to face. The Bhagavad Gita, it tells us how to understand these facts and how to understand why these things are there. So we understand body is changing, body dies, the soul never dies. Similarly, we understand Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna is supreme, and we are soul. But yoga means some connection should be there with God and us. So what is that connection between soul? Krishna says, Mamev ansho jeev loke jeeva bhuta sanatana manasastani indriyani prakriyasthanin krashyati. Krishna says, Mam eva ansho jeev loke jeeva bhuta sanatana. Every one of us, jiva means in this material world, everyone is ansha of Krishna. Just like Krishna is Bhagwan, we are his amsha. Amsha means same, just like ocean is there and a drop is there. So we can say a drop is an amsha of ocean. So we are ansha of Krishna, and we are struggling in this world with the six senses. We have different desires. So due to which we are struggling. So the living entity is a fragmental part of Krishna. And how it is connected to Krishna? By service. This we understand. Jiver Swarup hoy Krishna Nityadas. The eternal position of everyone is to Krishna's servant. Everyone is a servant of Krishna. But right now we are not acting like this. And even in Padma Purana there is one quotation like Daso Bhuter Harer. Everyone is a servant of Hari. Hari and Krishna means same personality. There is no difference. So we understand everyone is an eternal servant of Krishna. But if we understand the word servant, no one likes to be a servant actually, if you see in this material world. Because servant is not understood to be a very good position. It's a subjugated position. You are not free to act, and no one wants to become a servant. Because as soon as you give some control, there is exploitation in this world. So no one really likes that position. But this is speaking about material world. But Krishna is there in spiritual world. We understand from Shastra there are two worlds, material world and spiritual world. In material world, it's exploitative because pretty much everyone is selfish. Everyone is looking for their own self-interest, and to achieve that they may do anything, dharmic, adharmic, whatever. But in spiritual world, everyone is selfless. Even God is trying to become the servant of his devotees. We understand Krishna, when he displays his pastime in this material world, when he comes, he as a child of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, he is serving them. He is asking, his father is asking to bring the slippers of then Krishna he fetches the slippers of Nanda Maharaj when he is a child. So we understand in spiritual world, the being the servant is not a subjugated position, it's a very exalted position, because that relationship is not on material platform, that is purely out of love. We are just like a mother is serving his her child. Similarly, in spiritual world, everyone is Krishna, and Krishna is trying to serve his devotees. So this is a very pure relationship in which there is no selfishness. And when we hear about these pure relationships, our heart becomes pure, and it attracts our heart. And in those pure, and when our heart is pure, and then we can understand Krishna, because Krishna is described in Shastra as Param Pavitram, means the purest thing. In pure thing with contaminated hearts, it's difficult to understand. So that's why when we become pure, we can understand Krishna. So we understand, Krishna is supreme. We are soul. We are connected with Krishna, as a servant of Krishna. So yoga means to connect soul with Krishna, or to re-establish relationship with Krishna. In Gita also it says, Vedesha sarva aham eva vedyo vedanta krishna vedvicha aham. Krishna says, from Vedas I am to be known. I am the compiler and knower of Vedanta. So whatever the use of, there are three Vedis, Chatur Vedis, those who have read 4 Vedas, 3 Vedas, 2 Vedas, different people used to be there. But we understand, if they are just reading Vedas just as a formality, but they are not coming to the point of understanding Krishna, their study is not complete, because Krishna very clearly says, from Veda he has to be known, and we have to establish our relationship with Krishna. So now we will discuss like why do we need to practice yoga, or why there is a need of yoga. Because one may say, if one has good job, good salary, good wife, good apartment, it's like pretty satisfied life. Everyone aspires for this. But we understand those people, even after achieving these things, they are not really happy. One may actually feel happy by getting these things. But we understand there are different standards of happiness. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, it describes 3 types of material happiness. Happiness in Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun. But topmost happiness is spiritual happiness, and beyond these modes. Just to give example of different standards of happiness, we can take the example like people, they like to go to European countries, Western countries, because the standard of living is quite high. There are good roads, good maintenance, and everything is high class there. So they like to go to abroad. It's not like they are not happy here, but there is better standard of material happiness. So people, they go to abroad. So similarly, we understand why there is need of yoga, because these are material things. They will not fully satisfy us, because our nature is Atma. We are soul, and soul without spiritual happiness, we cannot really be fully satisfied. Some satisfaction may be there, but to be fully satisfied, we cannot become just we cannot become satisfied just by these material things. Just like an example is given, there is a bird, and bird is in a cage. So simply just by taking the polishing the cage, taking care of the cage, if you don't feed the bird, it is not it is not taking care of the bird. So bird will die ultimately, and it will not be fully happy. Similarly, by polishing this body, by taking care of these bodily needs, which comes in different form, good job, good salary, making body comfortable, making all arrangements for the body, will not become fully happy, because actually we are soul. The body is just like a dress, and we are taking care of it. So we have to take care of the possessor of the body, the soul. So the need of soul is to get out of this material engagement. And how can we get out of this material engagement? By serving Krishna, which is the true position of soul. And this is actually the aim of yoga, to liberate the soul from this material bondage. We understand, like in this world, everyone is suffering or enjoying the results of their past karma. We understand, just like different people, they are born in different circumstances, Some are very privileged, some are not so privileged, some are given opportunities and some are not given opportunities, some have abilities, some have some do not have abilities. All of this is due to past karma. So karma, we understand, it's not just like what we do in this life. Karma is a continuation from previous life as well. The example is given, just like if we sow a seed, the seed, it takes time to grow into a this sapling, then tree, then the tree bears flowers and then fruits. And it is the karmic reactions are just the fruits. So it takes time. For example, someone you might have done something, we might have done something good or bad in previous life, but it takes time to fructify. So and those results we bear in this life. Sometimes we get suddenly out of nowhere we get this news like oh, you got promotion or something good happens materially. So these things are due to our past karma, and due to and we also suffer or enjoy according to our past karma. But yoga is meant to liberate us from this cycle of this karmic reactions, because we understand even though we get material happiness, will not be fully satisfied. Soul doesn't belong in this material world. So soul has nothing to do with this material world. It's completely spiritual. It's meant to be. Everyone understands everything is temporary in this world, but what is permanent, they do not understand. Permanent is Paramatma and Atma and their relationship, that is permanent. And in spiritual world, that relationship is fully there. Now we have lost that relationship. So yoga is meant to revive this relationship. But as we understand, yoga is in present understanding, it's devoid of all these concepts. It's just some reduced to some physical exercises meant for upkeep of the body. But if we understand these yoga and asanas and pranayams we were doing just to concentrate the mind, to control the mind. But what do we do with the control mind? We meditate on Vishnu, we meditate on Krishna. In chapter of Dhyana Yoga, in chapter 6, Krishna says, like how to practice yoga, this especially this Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, that mana samyamya mat chitto yukt asita mat para. Krishna says, by controlling the mind, you should think about me. So all of these results which are derived from sitting in different postures, doing different meditations, our mind becomes controlled. But what do we do with the control mind? We have to think about Krishna. Otherwise, it's not the complete result of that yoga. So that's why we have to understand that yoga is meant to understand Krishna. So and in Bhagavad Gita there are different yogas described: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So one may ask like which yoga to do, whatever one is suited to, or which is the best for us. So the answer is given in Bhagavad Gita itself. There is in chapter 12, Krishna suggests like first of all you try to fix your mind upon me, and then Krishna comes further. If you cannot fix your mind, follow the regulative principles. If you cannot follow the regulative principles, try to do duties with a detached manner. If you cannot do that, try to cultivate knowledge. So there is a hierarchy which Krishna suggests. Do this, if you cannot do this, do that, if you cannot do this, do that. So Krishna is very practical. Krishna is not forcing someone to be artificially on some platform. You should do this. Krishna is giving choice. You do this if you cannot do this. So it's a top-down approach. Krishna says, try to do the best thing. Try to do what's the best. Focus your mind upon me. If you cannot do that, try to follow regulative principles so that you desire to obtain Him. It says, Mam Ichha Aptum. You develop a desire to attain me. So this is the yoga ladder as it's described in chapter 12. You should try to do Bhakti Yoga if possible. Otherwise, you should go on to a different yoga. And in Gita, it's described like different yogas are there. But what is the best? So Krishna says, in Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratana Shraddhavan Bhasti Yoma Swame Yukta Tamo Mata. Krishna says, out of the yogis, one with great faith who worships me, he always thinks of me, and he who renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the highest of all, and that is Krishna's opinion. So Bhakti Yoga is the best yoga because it's direct connection with God. In other yogas, in Bhakti Yoga, there is direct connection with God on the platform of feeling, just like we relate to our family members and other beings. It's directly in the connection with God on the platform of feeling. But in other yogas, if we see Jnana Yoga, it's a connection with knowledge. So there is very formal relationship with God. But Bhakti Yoga, it goes beyond that formal relationships and it develops into intimate relationship with God. That's why Krishna is saying Bhakti Yoga is the best yoga. And the kind of yoga these people practice for the physical health, these Ashtanga yogas, they're sitting in Vajrasana and all of these are okay for physical exercises. But Arjuna, he actually rejected this kind of yoga system, because this yoga system entails that one should go to a forest, live alone, out of these material entanglement. You cannot live in a city and practice this yoga system, and you have to sit in a particular posture. You have to follow a particular lifestyle, and you have to control the mind. So all of this, Krishna says, this is very difficult for me, Arjuna. Even 5,000 years ago, when Arjuna is very exalted personality and with many good qualities, but Arjuna, he said, this system which you have explained is seems to me impractical. I cannot do this. And this is recorded in Bhagavad Gita, because this rejection of this yoga system, we must understand, like people in general, they cannot follow this, because it's not very practical. Everyone cannot leave family, everyone cannot go to mountains. We have so many different obligations, different everyone is at different levels. So that's why it said, no, everyone cannot do this type of Ashtanga yoga, sitting in postures, controlling mind. So what is the best thing to do? So Krishna says to focus on him. So to do Bhakti Yoga. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to teach this yoga for this age, because there are different processes for achieving perfection in different yugas. There is Satya Yuga, Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Treta Yuga. 4 yugas are there. So in different yugas, different yuga dharma is there. In this yoga, there is it says it's the yuga dharma is to chant the names of Hari, to chant names of Krishna. So it's mentioned in Kali Santarna Upanishad, just Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It says, Iti Shodasakam Nama Namana Kali Kalmasham Nashanam Nata Paratara Upaya Sarva Vedeshu Dishyate. This mantra is given, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then it says these 16 words of Mahamantra, they destroy all the bad qualities of Kali. And in the Vedas, beside this, there is no other solution. It's a great statement if we analyze this. They are saying there is no other way, because we understand in Kali Yuga, people, they don't really have so much of time and energy to invest into studying Vedas, going to the forest, doing all these different austerities, penances, to understand about absolute truth, what is Atma, what is Brahm, what is not Brahm. All of these things, these are very difficult for a person in this age. So that's why this Mahamantra is there. And if we chant this, there are no rules and regulations for chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Anytime you can chant, there is no price for it. And there are no hard and false regulations. Wherever you are, whenever you want, you can chant. And by chanting this, our heart becomes pure. This it says, Cheto Darpan Marjanam. By chanting names of this Mahamantra, our heart becomes clean. And this when we chant this Mahamantra, it actually is an invocation to Krishna, Radha Krishna, to engage in their service. And we desire to connect God with service. And this is yoga actually. When we chant this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we, by chanting this mantra, we connect to God via service. We ask God to engage in His service. Right now we are not engaged. We are engaged in our own service, our own desires, our own plans, ambitions, which is hard to give up our ambitions, our own plans, and to try to follow a plan of Krishna. Krishna says it's very rare that one person who follows me. It says Manishyanam sahasreshu kaschid yaditi siddhatam Manishyanam sahasreshu kaschid yaditi siddha Kashin Madveti Tatvata. Means Krishna says, out of thousands and thousands of people, someone tries to know me, and even those who have known, those who have perfected, they hardly know me in truth. So Krishna, he becomes very happy when we try to understand him, try to follow his instruction, because he understands it's very difficult, but he tries to help us by interfering with our lives. If someone wants to connect with Krishna, someone wants to follow his plan, he becomes happy and he controls our life. And our life in general is controlled by our destiny, by our karma. But when we follow Krishna, when we follow this path of devotional service, Krishna, he interferes and he molds our life so that we can come out of this clutches of Maya, due to which we are suffering. And and when we do that, when we chant this mantra, we understand like we are becoming free from this clutches of Maya, because Maya is directly under Krishna. Krishna says, Devi Hesha Gun Mai Mam Maya Duratya Mam Eva Prapadyante Maya Itam Tarantite. Krishna says this material energy, this Maya is very difficult to overcome, but if one surrenders unto me, Maya Itam Tarantite, Maya will release. So how can this happen? Because Krishna is the Maya is under Krishna. If Krishna orders Maya to release someone, then Maya will release. But one has to follow the path of Krishna. When we follow path of Krishna, we acquire divine qualities. We become free from these basic defects like kama, krodha, lobha, moha. All of these things, they are making us demoniac to to certain extent. And when we become free of these qualities, then only we can understand Krishna, and then we can actually realize what is true happiness, what is spiritual happiness. So by this chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we become free from the clutches of Maya, and we actually experience what the happiness on spiritual platform is. So whenever we should get time, we should try to chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so that we can become free from the victimized chain of karmic reactions. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any questions related to this lecture? Anything?
Okay, you said yoga. So what's the difference between yoga and penance?
Yoga and penance. So yoga particularly means to connect with God, connect with Krishna. But penance is something which you are doing for some material benefit. It can be for material benefit. Just like we understand, there are demons like Hiranyakashipu and Ravana. They did so much of penance, but for what? For material, material powers. But it was to become immortal, to subjugate others, to control over the devatas. So, but this penance is not helping their spiritual advancement. So that's why this penance is just for material benefit. And yoga, it helps us to connect with Supreme Truth, Param Satya, Krishna, Vishnu. So we can understand this penance is different and yoga is different. Anything else? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.